Okay, welcome back to another episode of Lounge 11 with Femi and Samco. Samco, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain. How about you?
Well, it depends. I'm sure we'll get into it more. We'll get into it a little bit more, but yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Today we have a very special guest in the lounge. Let's welcome Nemi. Actually, Samco, I'll let you do the honors and welcome Nemi into the lounge for us today.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we already talked about things before. I'm looking forward to doing some stuff together. So I'm glad you definitely give us the opportunity and the chance to do something together. And looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great episode. So how you doing?
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And I'm doing well, It's not to depend. Today could have been worse,
Yeah,
But
given the circumstances.
given the circumstances, but I'm doing well. I'm good. I have a little bit of a cold, so this is not how I usually sound, but I'm doing
Well,
well.
feel better soon. Feel better
Feel
soon. And
better,
thanks
bro.
for still making it on. So appreciate you.
Of course.
So Nimi and I actually met in LA. Nimi's a very good soccer player. We've played soccer together. Don't be humble. Don't be humble. Don't be humble. Good soccer player. But Nimi also has a YouTube page, right?
Yes.
Do you want to quickly plug your YouTube page and
That's
what you talk about?
Nemillion. I don't know. That name came as a joke. I was in university.
Nemillion.
Yeah, as I was in University of Abuja, and a friend of mine, a neighbor actually, I don't think I was a friend. She just said, "Nemi millionaire." She was an Igbo girl. I mean, I'm an Igbo man. I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And
And you
then
claimed
someone
it.
told me Nemillion. I was like, "Hey man,"
Yes.
and just I created my Instagram, a lot of my social media, Twitter, everything is just Nemillion. And I was like, "Oh, I'm creating a YouTube channel. Might as well just stick to the name."
Nemillion.
Let's
Yeah.
see what happens. So the million is what my YouTube is, and it's a page where I follow Arsenal mainly. I would say the Super Eagles, but not very much because the stress of Arsenal coupled with Super Eagles. I've been trying to. I still put out content on Super Eagles every time I get a
Yeah.
chance. But that's mainly what I cover, and I've done some other type of creative stuff. Try to branch out a little bit, but just don't have the time to focus on that. So what my YouTube is mainly about is just reacting to Arsenal games. Sometimes we do a post-match review and stuff, but yeah, most of what you guys see is just an outlet for me. I have too much energy every time I just got on the ground.
We're gonna get some of that energy out of you today. Samko, what is that? What's that thing that was it? One of the guys on our chats, is it Inji Diego or something? The Igbo,
the Igbo saying Inji Diego or
yeah,
something. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Name, is that correct?
Inji Diego. How do you
I
spell
don't
it?
know.
Yes,
I'm probably killing it, to be honest.
I think it's NGIDEEGO.
Let me type it out because
Or
my brain is not.
NGE or something like that. Yeah.
NGI again?
NJI.
NGI.
Abi? Oh, sorry, no, NDI.
Indy Diego.
Yeah, Indy Diego. Then.
Yeah, Indy Diego. It
Yeah.
means the people who get money.
Exactly. Yes, that was it.
That would be you.
That was it. Exactly.
So that would be you. Yeah, let's jump right into it. Obviously, sorry?
Just in case people are wondering, I just wanted to give my full name. Never can work here.
Right.
That's it. Just in case people are wondering why you guys are asking.
You know what? Funny story. I remember when I knew, because I mean, all of us were in the group chat and everything, right? So we always used to talk. And
shout out to Banter
it's funny
group
that
chat.
I had seen him before, but I just never knew he was the one,
YouTube
right?
page.
Yeah, because I used to there's some YouTube guys I used to follow, and he used to work with the likes of Mo, especially I'm a big fan of George Moore and everything, right? And he came in on the call that we had one day, and someone kind of mentioned oh, this is the guy that I was like, oh, for real, this is actually him. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Bro,
and then I reached out to you privately, right?
Genuinely, I'll never forget that mention because I was like, me,
Inji Diego now, you don't know.
I was like, wait till, it made me feel good. It made me feel, I know Footy George Moore reached out to me. He said he likes what I do. He's been trying to get me on, but I just, life be lifing, he does it.
We got you first, right?
I'm not there. Is it again?
We got you first, right?
Yeah. I've been on there, but I haven't been there in a year.
Right.
But I appreciated his Samco, by the way. That was very encouraging for real.
So something about Samco, by the way, for the
That was
listeners,
good.
and never for you, Nemi. I've known Samco for a very, very long time. I thought I consumed YouTube content. Nobody consumes YouTube content like Samco, especially when it comes to football.
Yeah.
I've stayed with Samco in his house. We've traveled together. This guy watches
Yeah.
Arsenal. In fact, not just Arsenal, a lot of
Yeah.
like soccer related, YouTube stuff. So no surprises that he came across your page before he even got the chance to meet you. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe we'll just jump right into it. Nemi Lion, when we have someone in the lounge, we generally like to kind of hear their story a little bit about how they got into football, how they support the team that they support. So clearly you've shown you've told us that you're an Arsenal fan. So, when did you first know that, Arsenal is your team? What made you get into Arsenal as your team?
Okay. I think my story is not very unique. I think most Nigerians will have this story. I'm being honest.
Right.
I was born in Enugu State. That's where I grew up for the first
Oh.
9.5 years of my life. And my brother and my dad were Arsenal fans. And I didn't know why, And then I only followed one man, Kanu Nwankwo, you know, my hero, a legend of the game. You guys all know that legend of the Super Eagles. And he played for Arsenal. And my family, coupled with the guy that I absolutely loved, made me an Arsenal fan. That's who he played for. The number 4 is my favorite number because that's how much just to give you context of how I love Kanu Nwankwo. Number 4 is my favorite number because that's what he wore for Nigeria.
Oh,
I used
wow.
to, they used to call me Papilo in secondary school. I used to follow him everywhere. I became a West Brom fan, Portsmouth fan, even after he left. That's how deeply I cherished Kanu Nwankwo and still do, to be honest. What a legend he was. So I followed him all the way. And when I started watching the game, when I was in Enugu, I didn't watch Arsenal. I didn't watch football at all because we didn't have the means at the time until we moved to Abuja, where I did high school and secondary school. That's when I started watching. And unfortunately for me, it was the season right after we did the Invincible season, right after that. And then
Oh,
that's how the love started for me, and I followed Arsenal ever since.
and you were hooked. So Kanu was your favorite player in Arsenal.
Yep.
Do you have any favorite memories being an Arsenal fan? I know we've had a lot of, especially if you started after the Invincibles, there's been a lot of down after, like more
Oh,
downs than ups, unfortunately. But any favorite Arsenal memories so far?
bro, I have quite a few, but there was one that stuck out to me. And the listeners and you guys might probably be like, "What the hell?" But I'm going based off of what I felt in that moment, right? Carling Cup, is it the semi-final or it was called Carling Cup at the time? Reading
Yeah,
versus Arsenal. I don't know
the
if you guys
seven
remember.
six or whatever,
7-5. 5.
7-5. Yeah, I remember that game.
We were down 5-1, if I'm not mistaken.
That was a
Bro,
crazy game,
Yeah.
actually.
it was a lot was at stake. I think I don't know if it was semi-final or quarterfinal, but it was
It was
knock,
quarterfinals, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
knockout round, right? And this was when we had gone trophyless for so long, and then we were like, reaching for I was at the viewing center in university. I'll never forget this feeling.
The
And we
worst,
started
man.
coming back. We started coming, yeah, bro. We were raised in the way we were raised. Viewing center, Gogolada, heat, staunch heat. Nobody had light, generator, black, right? The most uncomfortable situation. I remember we started doing the comeback. And then it was 5-4 I think it was 5-4. I don't want to. And then we had one last opportunity, and then we missed that last opportunity. I gotten up from my seat. And when you're in the viewing center, I don't know if you guys have experienced viewing center, but
Of
watching
course.
is if you stand up, it's like people are screaming behind you.
Right.
You definitely probably not even coming back if you do that.
Yeah.
And they were walking away. But then it's Arsenal that's playing. You can't really just give up, bro.
So you're standing.
I'm standing in the middle. People are screaming. My side eye is like there's an attack going on, and I look. I'm virtually with the last kick of normal time. We equalized, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost my mind
Yeah, that was
just
crazy.
because of the timing of it and what we were going through and the hope that he filled me with. I was so happy for Arsene Wenger because he was going through it at the time.
Yeah.
But it hadn't been took us a while before we won that FA Cup. Even that FA Cup was legendary. Finally, when we finally broke that little trophy drought that we had. But that Reading moment, and it will eventually win the game. I remember when Shamak scored the 7th goal.
Shamak, yeah.
Bro, I just remember that that emotion will forever live with me. And I'm a YouTube guy, but I'm very particular with how I like YouTube. I like certain videos, so I can go back my storage. So I like videos I want to go back. I know how it saves it on there, so you don't have to search it. So sometimes when I'm just going down, when I just want to reminisce a little bit, I just go there. It is there in my liked YouTube videos because, and I remember it takes me back to all those years ago.
Wow.
That goal happened.
That's crazy. It's funny because I actually just watched that highlight again. I think it was this week or very recently. That's why I remember once you said Reading, I was like, I know exactly what game you're talking about because I just watched it again. Huh?
I said I haven't seen that highlight in years.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's been
I
a
watched.
while.
I watched it, and I think I was trying to. I was like, wait, you forget all the different memories that you've been through as an Arsenal fan, and you're like, how in the world did we come back from? Was it 5-1 or whatever? Yeah, but no, that's an interesting one, man.
Yeah, for real. Never. But if you want me to say a more recent one, that Newcastle, that 1-0 down, and then Gabriel Merino 2-1.
This season, earlier in the season. Okay.
Because of what that team had been to us recently, right? the hate that I've built up for Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, right?
Joe Linton is the one, yeah.
Dude, honestly, I don't think there are players I hate more than those two currently, right? Because of what they've done to us over the years. I'm forced, and we're playing poorly, which made it, you wrote the story and it made the emotion even better, and to win that game in a stadium we hadn't won in forever. That feeling more recently is the one that I'm like, okay, I remember feeling something not similar because that one was just like magic, but it was one of my recent memories of being an Arsenal fan.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that one. It's hard to, in the moment, it's really hard to contextualize that. It didn't feel as big to me, some of the more recent ones that jump out was, obviously Reece Nelson against Bournemouth was, you think that this is the moment, and it ends up not being, the Real Madrid, both of those games in recent memory, the free kicks were incredible. Right, not to do it once and then to do it twice. That is crazy. But
I don't want to act like those are not special moments. Those are not high, right?
No. Of course, it's yours. It's your moment, right? So
like recent, like this season, mainly that one.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome again. Let's jump into we're gonna run through some of the games that we saw over the weekend, and then at the time of this recording, Arsenal has just drawn to Brentford, which we'll get into. But the weekend was really interesting. There lots of very interesting games. United played Tottenham. They won 2-0. I think they were that game was at Tottenham, right?
No,
was it Old Trafford? Old Trafford, yeah. So that was the fourth consecutive win at the time for Manchester United. We'll start with you, Samco, because you haven't, just kind of get you in the conversation. But when we were having this recording last week, it was kind of tough to predict because you shared a stat last week that Tottenham hadn't lost to United in, 8 games? And that start was actually very, very shocking to me. So I wasn't sure how to call this game, but I think United were the better team on the day. I'm sure it was also helped by Romero getting a red card. But thoughts on that game, because a lot happened since then. So I'll let you kick things off from the Tottenham perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. So I think it was an even game, actually. Up until the Romero red card, I think both teams were just literally feeling each other out, trying to figure out what spaces to take advantages of. Both sides were moving the ball, I think, fast, nicely in the way I saw the game. And I think Romero's red card definitely just turned things over. The minute that that thing came, this is a team that have not been in good form lately, and now they're going away to Old Trafford, who have been on the rise all of a sudden since Carrick came in. So immediately that red card happened, I knew it was going to be a tall ask for Spurs to even get a draw, in that game. And soon after that, I think it was Umbuemo, right? That scored the first goal of the set piece. And
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
immediately,
the corner
yeah,
kick that they had.
corner
Yeah.
kick, yeah. And immediately that goal went in, I just knew it was game over for them because the
Yep.
only way Spurs are going to have to get anything means they're going to have to come out. They're going to need to attack. With a man down at Old Trafford against Manchester United, that have pace, have some good
That's a
technical
tough
players.
ask.
That's a tough ask for them. So for
Hmm.
sure, you can look at it that way and say Manchester United were the better team. They took advantages of the hand that they were dealt, and you can't. There's nothing you can you can say to like beat them down with, right? So it was a well end 3 points for Manchester United for me.
Nimi, did you watch the game?
No, no, not live.
Oh,
Not live.
okay. But have you
Especially when I
followed?
saw the red card, I was like, "There's no point." You know,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
Arsenal fan, but Manchester United is where my hatred lies.
You see,
Uh,
we said that before in this pod. Like, Man U is the team. Like, I don't really rate the
100%.
rivalry. I never see a rivalry with Spurs, to be
Yeah,
honest. It doesn't
especially if you
exist.
didn't grow up in like London. Like, there's no reason
Yeah,
anyone would go on
right,
for
right.
at least in our
United
generation.
was always the one. Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
need for us to be, have beef with Tottenham. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I don't even know if I don't. I feel like sometimes I've rooted for them. Like that match, I feel like I would have preferred Tottenham to win. You know?
Is that deep, eh?
Yeah. But I did catch the highlights though, and I'm just like, after watching everybody talk about Romero, and I was watching. I know you guys seen the overlap episode. I think when Carragher was talking about when Ian Wright was talking about what Romero did to his team as captain, and it's not the first time, it's not going to be the last time. He has
Mm-hmm.
that thing where he just lets the team down. You know, it's just like so bad, so rash. That was a bad tackle, and at that point the game is done. Especially in Manchester United, they were flying. But I thought it was a. I feel like I expected more. I expected like a blowout at that point. You know,
Really?
From who?
Oh,
From
okay, okay.
United.
Manchester United, but when they went down to 10 men, you know,
Oh, really?
yeah, I expected them to, score more goals, create more chances. But it was like I knew Tottenham will stay back and try to at least make it the scoreline a bit respectable. But I don't know why I expected
Right.
more mine to like get like 4 or 5. They're home. They're on fire. They just came off beating Arsenal and Man City. I don't know. I just expected more than just a 2-0 win, especially against Tottenham.
Interesting. I thought they did what they had to do, right? To be fair, I'm never going to be one to defend United, but when you win a Premier League game 2-0,
Mhm.
especially against a team like Spurs, and get the 3 points at a time to keep their winning streak to 4, I think they've done. You would say that they've done a good job, especially with the
Yeah,
opposition that they were playing. So
yeah.
hard to be
I
critical of
agree.
United.
I agree
Yeah,
with you. They did a great job. It's just when I saw that 10 men very early in the game, I was like, oh, they're gonna blow them out the water.
but
But it wasn't what
sometimes, right? Those are the hardest games to play.
facts. 100%.
Those are
You're right.
actually the
You're right.
hardest games to play.
Mhm.
Um,
Very true.
Samko, you have been one to defend or not defend. Let me not throw that word at you, but you've always wanted to offer proper context for for
Mhm.
Frank, Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
They lost that game. They went on to lose the midweek game, and I think by now everyone has heard what happened to. Everyone has heard what happened to Thomas Frank. He's been fired. He's been
Yeah.
let go from Spurs. We'll get into the Ange interview right now, but did that decision shock you?
No, it didn't because this is a result-based business, right? Especially when you see how a lot of clubs have been run in the last few
Right.
years. There's not a lot of patience or time being given to managers. A lot of money have been spent. So did the decision shock me? No. Did I expect them to be a little lenient and patient with him? Yes, I did expect that to happen. But if we're being honest and you evaluate the results, right? It was close to an end. When you keep losing these games, there's so much that you can hold on to, especially for the fact that relegation now is staring them dead in the eye. Like it is literally dead in the eye for them right now. They can literally be in that actual relegation zone within the span of 2 games, right?
Two
So
games,
did the
yeah.
result? Yeah. So did them sacking him shock me? No, but I actually did think that they were going to give him a little bit of patience. But then again, you also have to understand why that decision had to be made as quickly as it was.
We'll turn our attention to the big talking point this week. Really has been Ange's interview at the overlap. This guy came out and really blew the leads off.
Came out
you know,
fired.
just like typically you expect, because when managers get fired, typically they get a severance package, and part of that is probably the fact that they can't really talk about a lot of what has happened in the club. But this guy looks like he didn't have that clause. He didn't have any non-disclosure agreements. He just really started talking about stuff, the players that they almost signed that they didn't. But I think the theme behind his entire interview was that Tottenham are not a big club, right? What did you guys make of that discussion? Maybe Nimi, will start with you.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So start.
That I think, to be fair to him, and I know you spoke on the NDA and stuff, I liked the way he said it. Genuinely. I love how he was saying everything from his perspective. I love how he was saying it looked like, obviously just saying that this is, I might be wrong, but
Yeah.
this is the perception. And it just says so much about that club, and that ownership and how it's run. When he said they're a big club, but they're not, they're not. But he then said something that I actually liked. And I think Tottenham fans, if they're being honest with themselves, would agree with. He said, I can't remember exactly. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I didn't say that. He said, I tried to act like they were talking, but it's as if,
Yeah.
like I heard all the talk about Tottenham. I tried to change all the narrative about them. The Spursy, when he said Spursy, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
He usually,
Everything in there.
but he said he was trying to change all of that because they said, I forgot the line. He said, was it Dare to Believe or Dare to Do or something?
Dare to Do. That's
Dare to
that's
Do.
on the
Yeah,
walls
Dare to
everywhere.
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he genuinely tried to change that, that legacy that they have, but they wouldn't let him. And he really felt and believed in his style of play, and that was the only way to get out of that rut that Tottenham has been in for decades. I liked how he said everything he said, and how when he said, I built that team a certain way to be able to do certain things. I was like, oh God. So he's really like, absolving was our brother Thomas Frank of any real responsibility, and I just to touch on his sacking, really, it's I know the result, Serge. I know the result is, makes everything valid, is firing valid. But brother, that injuries, it almost makes me feel sorry for him. Then you have your captain who is supposed to be leading the yes red card. The person you signed, or Frank, or I don't know if it was Frank or Andy signed down, so injured.
Yeah. And
All midfielders injured. Madison, Kulusevski, who knows where that one has been forever.
That's true. I
Richarlison,
forgot about that guy.
and there's so many people. Bentancur injured like that. And people will argue that Bentancur was not really performing for them before he got injured, but still, those numbers, Arteta, I said it before, affects how they train, not just their performance field. I feel a little sorry for Thomas Frank, and I know I know from your last episode. I don't know if it's your last episode. Femi, you talked about how you watched the post-match conferences. I watched Thomas Frank after yesterday's result, and he first of all trying to be nice about the injuries, like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But then at one point they asked him a question. They said, "This is the first time I'm really going to talk about it." I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And we go, but these injuries are a lot. He I was
Right.
like, yeah, let me just blot this out. And I was
Yeah.
just like, and then I looked at their injury list, and I'm like, wow. Pedro Porro too. Yes, he's not the best defensively, but what he offers them going forward is undeniable. He just
Right.
doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little hard done by, and I think Ange almost like backed him up, but was also like just ripping into the ownership of them. And I don't know if we want to get into what the other people talked about, the money. Roy Keane made a very important point when Gary Neville was talking about how they're not successful, they're not successful. And then what lens are you? What do you mean success? Because to these owners is selling out the stadium for concerts for NFL. They're a successful club from their lens. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
from the fans' perspective, it's not success.
Mhm.
You know, what is the owner's focus? To be honest, when they bought that club, what were they trying to do? Make money or win leagues or trophies? I don't
Yeah.
know. That was my
Samco, over to you because you and I
Oh,
have our opinion, our opinions on Spurs. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it won't be too far from what I have to say. So,
Like I echo everything that Nemi has said. Like, um, starting with, I mean, I've been here countless times talking about these injuries, right? Like, yes, I understand people will come out, they will banter and all, but believe you me, if you go look at these Spurs injuries, and let's not forget this thing stems back to last season. Like, their injuries are horrible. As I was talking with one of our guys this week, and I said, look, if you count or if you ask anybody to list who are the top 5 players for Spurs, I will bet you 4, if not all 5 of them have not played majority of their games this season. Literally. You're talking about Kudos, you're talking about Madison, Kulusevski,
Wow.
Solanke. Then you're bringing in Romero. Like, just off my head, the top 5 players in that team have literally
man, I
not played
almost forgot about
majority of.
Madison.
Yeah, they've not played majority of the games for them this season, right? And this is a new manager that is coming in. He's definitely going to need enough time for them to figure out his system. If he's losing players literally every week, every other week, and not just losing for 1 week or 2 weeks, we're talking about long-term injuries. Like, he literally is forced to work with whatever body he has, right? And mind you, this is a team also that doesn't really invest in their squad. But even when they do, they don't invest properly, right? Like, you see the things, there was one of the things that Ange said that they made the Champions League. And the next season, what did they get for him? What tools did they get for him to work with? They literally got him Solanke the season after they
The
lost Harry Kane
teenagers,
and
yeah.
3 teenagers. Like, what do you expect what kind of magic are you expecting for these guys to do? Right? And then him talking about trying to change their mentality and all that. Remember 2 seasons ago when they played the game against Manchester City? They won. A lot of Arsenal fans were saying, "Oh, you guys do us a job," and the fans were out there praying for their club to lose and everything. And Andrew was like, "What kind of mindset is this?" Right? And I remember when I was one of the people that said, "Whatever decision you make from this game, it affects you down the line." And I think that season, I can't remember, no, they didn't actually. They didn't make Champions League that
Because
season.
that's how they ended up in
That's
the
how they ended up in the
yeah,
Europa League, right? So now
correct.
you're being forced to play games Thursdays, Sundays, and possibly Mondays. So this is now you're having your players, you don't even have a big squad in the first place, but now you have a little amount of time to train, plan, and literally play games every other 3 to 4 days, right? Yes, it's normal in the Premier League, but when you play Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Monday, these things affect the abilities of these players. It affects their health, their injuries, and everything. Mind you, we also have so much extra games than we usually use, right? So now bringing it back to the whole situation of the Spurs not being a big club. Again, like I said, if a manager who has worked in that club as recently as this summer before he was fired, if he's coming out to tell you he knows how everything operates, he knows the in and out behind the scenes, if he's coming out to make this statement, why aren't people taking the statement as it is? What are you trying to get out of it and saying no, Spurs is a big club? Jose Mourinho came out and made the same complaints. Conte came out and made the same complaints. Even Ange, he said today that there were a lot of things he didn't say. He had to keep calm. He had to hold himself in press conferences and not come out and say what he really wanted to say due to his frustrations. All these things add up, right? As Spurs a popular club, yes, I'm not going to take that away from them, right? There is popular club. There's a club that is in London for crying out loud, right? But when you look at the criteria that whatever anybody want to use to measure who and what a big club is, like I said, for me, they don't fall in that aspect, right? Whichever way you want to look at it, you want to use trophies, you want to use fan base, you want whichever you want to look at it, they don't fall into that. You call yourself
Samko, let me ask you how you measure, because I
so
saw
for me,
the argument that you were having.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm definitely going to use the trophies that you've had over your years, right? Because this is how people build their history, right? Your revenue is definitely part of that, your fan base and whatnot, right? So if you call yourself a big club, right? Like in the group chat we were today, I said one of the things that I use is your bread and butter, which is your league that you compete with every day, right? What are your achievements in that league? That's something you've been in for years. I went to take a look at this list. Spurs have won the league twice in their history. I can't even call you that big club based on sporting metrics in your country, right? So if you're lacking in the trophies, in my opinion, which is the main thing as a competitor, I can't consider you a big club. Some people are going to come out and say, oh, what of in Europe? Oh, okay, what have they won in Europe? They have won the Europa League in Europe. So as a big club in the Champions League that has the big clubs, how many times have you been there? How many times have you competed to win those trophies? The numbers too don't match, right? I even went to look into the revenues, for example. And again, I'm just comparing this to the other teams that I see as big clubs, right? Your major sponsor, which is Nike, gives you 30 million pounds a year. Your major sponsor. Go look at the other big clubs and look at how much their major sponsors, that's your Adidas's, your Nikes, and whatnot. Go look at how much they give these other clubs. There's a reason why that number is at that number. Granted, you have your big stadium in London. There's no problem about that. That's why I said your popularity, your revenue, and everything has come into place, right? Okay. Secondly, when you go into the transfer market and you're trying to attract those big players, how many of those other big clubs would you push to the side to sign those players? You don't even pay the best wages. So if you don't pay the best wages, how do the best players come to sign and play for you? It's not a dig. It's not me coming. It's just what it is, right? Like I said, myself, you were in London. We went for the North London Derby, right? And let me even mention this. When we were in London, I was just like, they actually do not rate this club. And I'm not just talking about Arsenal fans. I'm talking about the London clubs in London right now, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, you are a popular club. I'm not going to argue that with anybody. It's the Premier League. Everybody watches the Premier League now. We've had fans, people who love Hurricane. We've had people who love Son. We've had people who loved Roy Keane, Jermaine Defoe. The name goes on and on, right? That one is granted. But the big clubs are able to win the major trophies. They are able to gain the most money in terms of revenue and whatnot. They are also able to sign the best players, afford the best players, and pay them best players' money. So in these metrics that, again, like I said, this is just me. I'm not saying it's the alpha and omega of how big clubs should be judged. This is just how I judge mine. You don't meet those metrics. And again, you have a manager who lived inside that club for 2 years and is telling you that this is how things are being done in this club. A lot of the times when it comes to sports, everyone is always talking about the managers, the managers. When are people going to start talking about the owners or the management teams that run this club that make these decisions? No one is speaking about them, but every little thing you're going to come out and you sack the manager. You've sacked Ange, you've sacked Thomas Frank. Now, think about it. You had Pochettino. This guy came in from Southampton, right? He took your club to the next level. He made it to the Champions League final. What do you guys do the following season? You don't back him, you sack him. Then you go bring in the likes of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho gets you to a League Cup final. What happens? 4 days before the League Cup final, you sack him. You go bring in Antonio Conte. What does he do? Problem, you sack him. And everyone. So you've even had the world-class managers, the upcoming managers, and you haven't really done much with that, right? If you look at that overlap clip, there was a time they were talking about, okay, how many trophies have Spurs won? And one of them said, you're looking at 5 to 6 trophies within the span of 50 years. 50 years, bro.
Like,
let me jump in there. Nimi, you heard my brother, my co-host, just kind of pile into he enjoys this. He enjoys this topic a little bit too much, you know. But you heard a lot of what he has said, and I'm sure you've watched the interview as well. Do you agree that Spurs are not a big club?
100%. Like everything Samco says, there's nothing to dispute. I did not know about the sponsorship, the Nike situation.
Let me jump in there actually. Sorry, before you go on, because you know our viewership is growing now, so let's make sure that we're putting out the right information. I was googling as Samko was speaking. I think like those numbers, maybe 30, 40. I just put it on Google, and Google is saying 40 million pounds, which would put them at sixth, just behind City, United. I guess depending on what deal is being quoted. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea. So in some ways, like that
How
shirt
much?
number,
How much?
they
Like
have it
what?
at 40 million pounds per season.
That's Tottenham. What about what is Man U
Tottenham.
get?
United is now they list between 60 or 90 because I think it was contingent on them being in Europe
Yes.
or something like that. So
It's almost
that
double.
number might have what's that? Yeah.
Almost
Thomas, I think it's come down because of their lack of participation in European tournaments. But the point is that, you know, there's what, 5 teams that you would expect have bigger, you know, shirt sales or I guess sponsorship deals from their shirt sponsor than Spurs. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there to see how it contextualizes what you're about to say next.
Liverpool. I'm kind of Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester
City have the best shirt deal in the country. United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, then Spurs, according to what we're seeing here. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense, but they only have that because, my opinion, because of geographical area they're in. Because what Samko says, the only reason City became big is because they started winning things recently in the last 15 years. You know, before that, I'm sure their numbers were so way little. And then the new generation started buying shirts. I'm not surprised that, let's say, City or Man United get 60 to 90. That's almost double 40, right? Let's say it's almost double, right? That makes sense because they probably don't sell enough because they're not winning anything. They're not attractive to the younger folks, you know. So I don't expect them to get the same deal as Manchester City or Manchester United.
Is that down to winning though, or is just down
I
to
think
like?
so. How do people become fans of clubs, especially especially clubs that are trying to be international, worldwide? Like the reason, if Arsenal, let's say we had so many, Yakubu was playing in Everton. I wasn't an Everton fan, you know, or Middlesbrough at the time because they had no hope of winning. You know, I don't know if I would have loved Kano if he was or Bolton, for instance. Our best player, Kano Okocha at the time, was playing for Bolton. We're not fans of the club. We're not fans of Bolton. You don't see diehard fans because there has to be a relationship between the reason you love them. Let's say you love Kano Wanko, for instance, but they're worthy of your support. Nobody likes pain. You know, I feel like there haven't been any new Tottenham fans except the ones who are actually born there within the last. Okay, let me not say no. I feel like
I get what I mean. Yeah, of course, not like literally.
Yeah. I don't know how we can find this number. I'm sure there's no sample size out there in the whole of the world, but we know Human Son brought a lot of Korean fans, 100%, because they just don't have any other option because they don't have too many South Korean players who are playing at high level. So that love for Tottenham will always be there, you know, and it's a business decision sometimes when they go for these players. Even the Kusinov situation that Man City signed, you know, that part of the world was almost untapped. I heard this from one of I don't remember who I watched, but they sign all these players based on what can we actually get from this player? How many jerseys can we sell in this part of the world that is untouched, that's untapped, you know, untapped market, you know, and they think about this as a business. So if Tottenham is not winning things or they're not making some unique signings, I don't see where increase in jersey sales will come from. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where Nike and then Adidas make their money. All these shirt sponsorship. You know, it's just not profitable for them to pay them more. So I'm not surprised. But just to answer your question, I know I've gone on a whole tangent. I think is how I rate a big club. If you're not winning things, right? If you're all challenging for stuff. I feel like if you're challenging, they've challenged once since in my lifetime for the league, and it was the Leicester season, you know. And then we all know what happened. It was disappointing for us. The challenge for, I think they even mentioned it. Carragher mentioned it, and they even said the people who know in my lifetime for sure they're not a big club. But if Carragher is also saying the reason him, Roy Keane are actually thinking about it is because of the generation that they were born into, and not in the last 20 years. You know, because all they can point to is the past, you know, as opposed to, you know, Manchester United, even in that terrible form, they find a way to win the FA Cup or win something. You know, Arsenal, we haven't won anything in 6 years, you know, but we've challenged a bunch, you know, but when we won our back-to-back FA Cups, I say back-to-back, that double that not the league double, the 2 FA Cups that Arsene won before he left, and then Arteta's as well. There are things for us to cling on to, but I don't consider Tottenham a big club based off of what my brother Samco has said, because every other team is winning something, no matter how bad it is.
Do you guys think that, because I personally think that this interview put Ange back in like good light, because especially the timing of it. It came out right after Frank was fired, and I think a lot of people feel some sympathy or at least empathy towards Thomas Frank, just given the fact that we're seeing some of the same things, right? The injuries, it doesn't look like this club was set up for success. In my lifetime, I haven't seen Spurs actually become like cause any kind of real worry consistently over a period of time to consider them a big club as well. But now listening to Ange come out to basically say some of the same things people have been saying for years. You've called out Jose, you've called out Conte. It almost makes Ange look like a genius in all of this, right? What do you guys think about that?
I mean, definitely you can call it that way because, like I said, when you have the managers who most people would call serial winners in Jose Mourinho and Conte, for example, they went there and they couldn't win. So is this really just down to themselves as managers, or are we also going to question what foundation do they have to win? What tools do they have to win? Like we just said, Jose Mourinho took them to a League Cup final. You tell this guy to go home 4 days before the final. What would you
That was
lose
crazy.
in going into that final? And like, who would you rather take a risk on?
In a
Would you
one-game
choose
situation.
in a one-game situation to win your trophy? Would you choose Jose Mourinho, or would you choose a guy who's been playing for your club, never really managed before, and you tell him, oh, you know what, go up against Pep Guardiola? So when we have
Yeah,
this track
that was
record,
crazy.
when you have this track record, what in the world that is whole do I use to now say to you that you are a big club? Like, based on what?
Yeah. I thought one of the
Because
coldest
everything,
lines from that interview,
yeah.
I was saying one of the coldest lines that I got from that interview was when the panel had like shared, oh, these are all the managers have come, said, I'm the only one that left with something. That was cold, man.
Only
Literally.
one
Yeah.
of them wants
I'm the only one that
Yeah.
left that wants something for the club,
He's the
you
only
know.
one that left with something. So it's like, when are the owners going to be held accountable for what it is that they do? And I know that, yes, the fans expect more. Again, they won the Europa League last season, right? Every fan, when you win a trophy like that, every fan is going to be like, okay, what do we need to move on to the next step? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Big clubs do what is necessary. Let's use Liverpool, for example, right? Yes, Liverpool are not doing fine. They won the league. What did they go out and do this summer? They took things
Spent
to
a
the
ton of
next
money.
step. They spent all that money.
Yeah.
Man City did not win the league last season, right? They spent money in the summer. They came into this season. They're looking at injuries. They're close to winning the title again. What did they go and do in January? They spent money again. But look at the caliber of players that they are getting. Look at the players that Ange spoke about he talked about Semenyo and Gehi. If he has that talent ID and say 2 years ago literally 2 years ago, he wanted those players, Are you going to call him a madman when one of the best managers of all time is literally recruiting those same players to try and make him win the title?
Mhm.
But why are they unable to get those kind of players? I don't think it even has to do with the transfer fee, because we've seen Spurs spend money in the transfer market, right? But it's all about the wages. Are they going to pay the wages that the Liverpools, Chelsea's, Manchester United, Cities, Arsenal are willing to pay to get those players?
I found it interesting where he mentioned that's when I realized how bad missing out on the Champions League was for a team. Did you guys hear that? Catch that part when he said that? That
What
it
did he say?
affected. He said that's when I've never really paid too much mind to how badly missing out on Champions League really affects a team. And I
Oh,
think
I've been saying that forever.
Exactly.
talking
We've been
about
saying this for years. Yeah.
financial benefit they get, and missing that because he talked about how he wanted Pedro Neto and all these players, but he couldn't.
And you know what's funny too? Let me just add to that point that you said. I think that was also one of the reasons why they acted quickly in sacking Thomas Frank. Because with relegation staring them in the eye, the potential money or the financial implications that they will go through from being in that relegation is also one of the reasons that I feel that they pushed him. Because when you look at how things have been going, like I said, he's had the injuries and everything. Like there's not much this guy can do. What happened now that didn't happen in December 2025? Like what's different from now till December 2025? And you say, oh, you know what? Losing to Newcastle is that's when I call it
You draw
quit.
the line. That's where you draw the line.
Yeah, that's where you draw the line. Losing to Newcastle, that's where you draw the line. Like, so.
Yeah.
I don't know who comes in and does a better job. I think that's where it's concerning, because I'm hearing talks about interim manager. And that's a very interesting concept, because they're in a very dicey situation. It's very different from the United situation, where they were kind of already on a stable track, and they were never going to get relegated, given where they were, even with the previous manager. In fact, this manager is probably taking them from where most people had them in the 6 to 8 range.
I think they should go in.
It's likely looking at top 4. Spurs are flirting with relegation. Was that? I think
they
Spurs
should
are
look
flirting
into
with
someone like
relegation. So now you've fired Thomas Frank. I mean, he's put his name in the pot.
He's like 500 years old now. Let me actually
guys, stop. Stop.
I don't discriminate, but I don't want it to come and have high blood pressure and fall down and pass away, you know?
But I mean, it's also like the profile we're talking about, right? You know, Harry Redknapp talking about wanting to, you see that Harry Redknapp wants to manage. I heard Tim Sherwood has put himself forward as potential. These are the caliber of coaches that they're entitled to, looks like.
But Harry Redknapp is 78. I don't know if you guys heard me.
Yeah, I heard you. 78 is yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
I would love to add a disclaimer before we leave the Tottenham segment. Yeah. I just want to add this small disclaimer that listen, we're very objective people, and I'm proud of us. But
like us here?
Long may it continue. Let's not act like we're here trying to solve Tottenham. We don't want it solved. I have enough problems in my life. Because right now we're talking smartly about what solutions can apply, and nah. We want the owners to stay, and we want them to keep making these very good decisions, because that's the only way Tottenham can keep being Tottenham.
But here's the thing. I'll be very, very honest with you, right? Samco knows this because we talk about this all the time. I've told myself, nobody can drag me into a conversation that puts Tottenham in any more relevant than the way I see them. And what does that mean? In even the context of what you're saying, I actually seriously do not worry about what the owners do at Spurs, because I don't see them as anything more than what they are. That would be akin to me thinking about what are the Brighton owners doing? What are the, Crystal Palace owners doing? That's how I see Spurs, with all due respect to them.
But bro, valid. But I'm saying we did not see Manchester City as anything in before 15 years ago. We didn't.
Yeah, but the things that came together that allowed City to be City are going to be very difficult to replicate in the future.
Yes.
So if we're all continuing to operate under the same, financial constraints and rules and things like that. Spurs we need another 116 charges,
Facts. To be
right,
fair, that's a good point.
to get there, and I don't see that as likely. I don't see that as likely. So,
That's a good.
you know, yeah, I think they are what they are, and yeah, we can leave it at that.
Okay, but what about this? Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
You see where we were. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. I was a little worried about Aston Villa for the first time in my history.
You mean this season?
Yes.
You've not been paying attention to the chat then.
Wait. Maybe not. So that's a yes?
No, I've not been worried about
Not
Aston
at
Villa
all.
one bit this season.
Dog, I was, especially when they beat us at home and Unai Emery,
I'm the
I
wrong
was a
person.
little,
I'm the wrong person for this for this
Yeah,
chapter.
I'm not Villa.
Yeah,
So
let me say my question. My question is, do you think one day, if Tottenham sign a manager and then give him time, I don't want to. This might be a false equivalence for sure. But when we would have sacked Arteta, those second 2 years, his second and third full seasons at Arsenal when we came 8 twice, right? I don't know what would have happened if we fired him in one of those seasons.
No, his third season we didn't come 8th, by the way. The
We
season
we
he
came in
completed
third
was
and second,
8th.
Yeah.
Yeah. The season that he took over Mary was 8th. Then the season after was 8th.
100%.
And then after that was 5th. Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. If we had fired him in that moment when he was actually building something, and then the manager had to come and start fresh, we fired him, start fresh. If Tottenham signed a manager that really cares, right? And obviously the whole system in Tottenham needs to be changed for that to happen because they're not a very patient club. But I'm just saying that there is a way forward for Tottenham. And I know you were never worried.
There's a way
about
forward for any club.
Exactly.
Actually.
There's a way forward for every club.
I mean, to turn it around too,
Yeah,
So,
but
my
you
view
have
on
to
that,
question those owners. You have to question that management team because they are the ones that set the tone of what are we trying to do, what do we want to do, right?
And what I'm saying, Samco, is that we should not question them too much before they actually start doing the right things. And then we have to worry.
No, but that's the thing, right? Like, whether it's Tottenham or Aston Villa or Brighton or whoever it ends up being, that's just the competitive landscape you have to deal with, right? Like, last season we had Forest, right? So to your question about Villa, there's always teams that the way the Premier League is structured, I think people don't understand that historical cachet that you possess, the revenue numbers we just looked at, right? There's so much disparity between the top 4 or 5 clubs and the rest of the league.
Yeah.
And that thing is going to continuously create a buffer. Look at United, for example. United haven't been in like Europe. They didn't play in Champions League this season, yet they can still command better players, right, than Villa. It's not by accident. They're just always going to have that. Now, it might take sustained years of not being United for something to change, but we haven't seen that. Even as bad as United have been, they're always there or thereabouts to a certain degree. And that's just what makes them the kind of club that they are, right? So Villa, yeah, I think they're going to remain competitive, but what we're going to see, and it's probably going to happen more next season, is if they're able to sustain this, remain in Champions League. Now they couldn't even keep players this season. They had to let the likes of Jacob Ramsey go. We're seeing a situation where they can't play Harvey Elliott because of PSR considerations. It kind of tells you the challenges you deal with at a relatively smaller club. So you might catch lightning in a bottle and put on an extended run over a course of a season or two, but doing that over a period of time where you have to keep all your best players, pay them top dollar, players' contracts are off for renewal, so you have to fight off like bigger teams. Can Villa stop Rodgers from going to the like of City tomorrow or Arsenal? I don't think so. Right? So those are the things that over a period of time become something that you have to worry about. And again, Ange talked about that in the interview where the salary, they couldn't, like, you can pay the same 65 million for Solanke and wherever, but everybody knows that Haaland going to City for £51 million is not the same as Dominic Solanke going to Spurs for 65 million.
Yeah.
It might look like someone spent more, but we know that that's not what's happening, and that's just the reality of running this football club. So, I'm not really worried about Spurs right now. They have a long way to go, and we have many more problems in front of us than Spurs right now.
Facts. Very good points, bro. Can't even dispute those.
We spent quite a bit of time talking about Spurs, so let's jump into the other big game from the weekend, which was the Liverpool Man City game. Arsenal went in. We're not even going to spend too much time on the Sunderland game because we're already at the top of the hour. Just catching up. Arsenal had won the game earlier, I think, against Sunderland at home. I think it was 3-0. That opened up a 9-point lead. But City had the game in hand, and they had to go to Anfield, where they haven't had much success in recent times. And it was going as planned for Arsenal fans for quite a while there. I think the first half I think City would feel like they were on top, or do I have it the other way? And then the second half, Liverpool came out and they played a little bit more. They went up to another worldie from Szoboszlai. And from that moment on, you're thinking, wow, could this be the gap? And from there, things just went downhill for Liverpool. How did you guys see that second half, especially?
Bro, I missed the first half because I went to church, right? But then I saw this call and I was flying back home. I was 0-0. I have to go and support them. My eyes were making dead. And then I was like, wow, exactly what happened. Game's done.
Yeah.
But before then, that boy that I bigged up, I put out a video the same day, I think, just hours before, Hugo Ekitike. I was like, oh, you used to be a Henry fan. That means you must have some sort of feelings for us now, no doubt, right? That header he missed from the cross from, I don't know if it was
Salah outside of the foot.
Salah. Bro, that header, I was like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Don't do this to me. And they were playing well. They were putting Man City under pressure. And then Szoboszlai did what Szoboszlai, would always do. I was like, game's done. The pain that followed, bro. I think that's the worst part because we were so high that made the low feel lower than it should have been. That's bro. It really stung. Not just to even tie, not just the fact that they didn't lose the match, but to win it was just like a slap to my face, bro. Like, and in that manner, like Alisson, who is normally very reliable, like, what are you doing, bro? But I have a question for you guys, and this is a rule I'll change in football because the goalkeeper didn't come and the referee didn't come on that any. Nobody was raging at the decision to award the penalty. But I hate that rule so much. Because Nunes was not going to get that ball.
Samco will tell you what I said, though.
Yeah, he had kicked it out of play. Like, at that, but why the hell? There was no advantage. I feel like fouls or penalties should only be given if there was an opportunity. The ball was gone. So you're bringing back a play when it didn't necessarily exist. But I know to now create a problem, but then you're now leaving it up to, best judgment. Like, what if he would have touched it differently if he didn't see the goalkeeper, that the goalkeeper affected the way. I get it. I get it will become a dicey conversation.
I don't get it, man.
This one was too clear to me. Like, there was no advantage there. To bring it back was just like, all right, you were never going to get the chance. Let me create a chance for you. It was so annoying. It was rash from Alisson.
I mean, so I texted, Samco and some of our Arsenal internal memo group. I said the same thing, but just to be clear, I thought it was a pen, just because of everything we have seen. We know the game that's going to be given. He made contact with the player. There's nothing really contentious about that, given established precedents. However, what I didn't like about it is everything you have said, right? It's like, if you go back and watch it, the guy is like literally close to the byline. He's not going towards goal. He kicked the ball away from the goalie. So that ball is actually going out of play.
Yeah.
Like, even if the goalie doesn't make contact with him, that ball is going out of play. And of course, contact was made, penalty. So in the cold light of day, as far as like the rules are concerned, you can't really argue that there was a penalty, because if I'm in the same position as an opponent truthfully, I won that penalty.
Mm-hmm.
What is concerning though is that you see other incidents. I think Odegaard, I forget what game it was that someone had put in the chat, didn't get that call in a different game. So the lack of consistency is concerning. But if it was up to me, I would actually implement exactly what you're saying, which is if nobody's denying you a goal scoring opportunity here because the ball we have VAR now, so there's nothing to really
Yeah.
make subjective at that point. You can go back and watch it and see that okay, this ball was going out of play, so there's no need to call for a pen. That's my take on it. But I don't think that's why they lost. I think the Man City were on the up at the time.
Yeah. Samco, how about you? What do you think?
I echo what Femi said. I think it's funny because last week when we talked about this game, I know I said I think Liverpool were going to get something out of this game. I remember waking up that morning. I literally watched it with my brother-in-law, who's a Man City fan, and I remember messaging Femi in the group chat and everything. And I woke up in the morning and I said, I feel Man City are getting something today. And
You
even my
said that.
brother-in-law was like, huh? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's one thing I've just noticed about football when all the odds just look against somebody, there's just something that is just weird that day. Like, and I kept looking at it like, okay, everyone keeps saying City haven't won in here in over 23 years, or if they've won, it's only once or twice. And, Man City as well have been struggling for some good results, right? And then I look at Slot and what he's been doing this season, right? I expected the same type of tactics that he did against Arsenal, where he's really not going to do much to go for the game or anything. He's going to try to contain Man City as much as he can. And if you think about it, that plan was working exactly the same way as the Arsenal game when we played at Anfield. And then Sabozlai free kick literally just gave me that deja vu again. Because I'm just like, I have been here before. But even
Yeah, I've
after
seen this movie before.
yeah, literally, I've seen this movie before, but even after he scored, I could see like Man City was still trying. And I told my brother-in-law, I was like, I still think City will get a draw from this game. So when Bernardo scored, I was like, okay, yeah, the game is done now. And he was literally heading in that direction. The game was literally going to be done until Alisson did his madness and literally gave them the opportunity to just win the game. So yeah, it's football. I mean, this is why we love the game, right? There are a lot of times you predict or think something is going to happen, and just one moment just changes literally everything of the whole game, right? So yeah, that was it for me.
Let's talk about some of the big VAR decisions or VAR talking points from that game. There were at least two that I remember off the top of my head. One of them was Gay's pull on Salah that many people suggest should have been a red card. And then obviously Szoboszlai sending off at the end. We'll start with Gay. Did you guys see that pull?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a red card.
Yeah,
I think the defender, I forgot his name, but there was cover.
There
Up
was a
top.
covering defender.
yes,
There was a covering defender very
close
close.
defender. Yeah,
And trust me, I was wishing there was none, right? I needed a reason to be angry, right? But I don't think that one was a red card, to be fair. No. Wait, what?
Samco, how about you?
yeah, literally same thing. I don't think it was a red card.
I think it could have been.
It could have
Like,
been. It could have been.
I won't. Let me put it like this: I wasn't mad at whatever outcome, but watching it back, you can make a case for a red card because the covering defender almost doesn't matter at that point, given the fact the proximity to goal.
Yeah.
Like Salah was through on goal. Salah was actually through on goal. They could have, I think if he had beaten Gay, I don't think the covering defender is making it in time because now he has a clear
What
shot
if the
at goal.
goalkeeper
Right?
tries to cover him, or even if he beats the goalkeeper and the other covering defender is the one that tries to cover the goal?
But at that point, the goalkeeper is now the one in play. There's no defender again.
Excellent.
Because
To be
now
fair,
it's through on goal.
When I watched it back, maybe I need to go and watch it again, but it seemed like it was so clear that guy was not covered. So clear.
You gotta see it again. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since that game, to be honest. That's not a good game to go and look back just because.
Yeah, I didn't watch any single highlight or whatever. Like, yeah. Whatever, guys. But I think the other one was just from a football fan who just wondered, like, man, okay, I get this is the technical application of the rule, but who cares, man? That was a Szoboszlai goal. I think Turkey had played the ball towards the net. You see Haaland and Szoboszlai tussling to get there. What's his name? Szoboszlai pulls first, and then Haaland pulls next. None of them were able to get to the ball, and the ball just rolls into the net. And at that point, everybody's thinking 3-1, and then there's a VAR check, and then it ends up being red card Szoboszlai, and it's like, to whose benefit is this? You know, thoughts on that?
I think they should have left it to just be a goal. Both players fouled each other, you know, Ojoro cancel Ojoro. Like, it's not done. Just let the game play out. It was going to be a goal if Haaland was going to score if Szoboszlai didn't pull him down, and you know, and Haaland just got his revenge, and the goal still went in. So nothing changed, you know, from the original plan. I think they should have left it, but then again, you can understand why the referee had to apply the rules of the game. You know, in my opinion, is all, you know, you don't want them to be robots sometimes, and they clearly are a lot of the time. But then when they want to use their own common sense, they don't always apply it when they can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they could have made a case for, well, you know, both of them we see it all the time. Sometimes when there are two players are tussling in the box for a corner kick or any type of set piece, they're pulling each other. It's like, oh, this is fair. They did the same thing. Let's keep it going. They could have done it, but I just felt because a goal happened, you know, they had to apply the letter like robots, you know. So I didn't hate the decision. I don't know if I'm wording that correctly. I didn't hate the decision because I didn't have Shirky in my fantasy Premier League. If I did, that would have been hitting me, especially since I've fallen. I don't know if you guys are paying attention. I was stopped for several, like Arsenal. I was stopped for several weeks now. I'm having the worst time.
No, please use the right terminology, like Liverpool.
Yeah, I used to. That would have. I didn't hate the decision.
No,
but I understood the decision, but I didn't like it. That's what I should say.
I think that last frame of Haaland pulling Szoboszlai before the ball gets in did not help the case, because you can't see that and then give a goal. But then if you see that, you have to even go one frame back and see Szoboszlai pulling.
But
in which case it becomes
obvious error, because he gave it as a goal.
No, it is a clear and obvious error in that case.
I don't think. Actually, he did give it as a goal, but I think he had no choice. And if you think about it, it has to do with the whole VAR, like let the play run out and then we go back to review it. So I think that was literally what he did there, for just the play to, because even the first time when Szoboszlai did the drag out on the shirt pulling on Haaland, that is a clear foul, right? Yeah. But you can see Haaland is pushing and fighting to ensure that ball goes in. But then again, when Szoboszlai seems to be gaining ground on Haaland literally does the same thing. So that's like foul. So literally, he just let that play, let's just finish this play, and then VR will make this decision for me. So,
and I don't think anybody would have been upset. To be honest,
if Haaland didn't score that, we're not having this. If the ball just went in, and Haaland didn't
drag
pull, then we're not having this conversation.
But
I think because of
if the referee just chose to give it as a goal.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because it couldn't, right? Which is the technicality of it, right? Because if Haaland didn't pull and the ball just went in, Szoboszlai is not getting sent off. At least that's my belief.
But do you think because gets to the ball?
I think Szoboszlai would have gotten to the ball.
He would have gotten to the ball.
So then there'll be an issue. That's what I'm saying. If there was no pull and the ball went in, there's no issue here.
I think this is my only concern. The ref really took on the Ojoro cancel Ojoro situation to have awarded it.
No,
I don't think he did. Yeah,
I don't think he did. I think he just let it play.
Okay, why did he see the first one and give an advantage? It was very clear. He had a beautiful view of it. He was not like being blocked by somebody. He gave advantage to Haaland when Szoboszlai pulled him. Oh, the ball seems to be going in. There's an advantage here. He let it go. Yeah. And then he saw the foul that Haaland did. What do you think he was thinking to have said, okay, go? The on-field decision was goal. What else could he have?
Because in that
but at that
run of
point, you
play,
can't. You down. There's a foul to
because
give.
in that run of play is literally a goal, right? But was there a foul committed? Yes. So this is what VAR has been doing, where they will now take it back and review to see just the way you say, okay, was there a handball? Was there an offside? Literally, it was the same thing that just happened.
But the review is to confirm or deny the referee's original decision. So his original decision, when he clearly saw it, was a goal.
Okay, so now
but
think
go
about
ahead,
it this way.
I'm not saying VAR should have called him. I'm not blaming VAR.
But
right?
think about it this way.
I'm telling you that the referee on the field was thinking, well, it cancels it out.
But think about it this way. The ref could have also blew his whistle with the Szoboszlai drag or the Haaland drag. He didn't. He literally just waited for the play to be completed. Right? And it's a goal in that play. But there was still foul that was committed within that play leading to the goal.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that
you can't do cancel now. Because if you are giving Szoboszlai a red card for pulling, you still have to give the foul to Haaland for also pulling.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have brought it back by foul. I'm saying in his original mindset to have awarded it a goal when he saw both fouls.
Yeah,
it's just strange to me because he was very.
So now you're making the assumption that he saw both fouls, though.
100%. Do you think he didn't see it?
I don't know that. He didn't blow, so he couldn't. You can make the argument that he didn't see it.
I don't. If you watch it back,
I think because of that first Szoboszlai pull,
that's what I'm saying.
Blow. I think that is why he just let the play complete, and then
because he wanted to see. Yeah. To me, I think by the letter of the law, he didn't have much of an option.
I agree
because there's no way that ball goes in. Right, without you seeing Haaland pulling, because someone can make the argument that Haaland stopped him from getting a chance to get to the ball,
stopping the ball.
So now, if you have to review that, if you just isolate that in itself, that's a foul. So that would be enough grounds to disallow the goal. But you can't disallow the goal because if you come back one frame, which you're allowed to do in VAR, you would then see Szoboszlai denying a clear and obvious, like a clear opportunity to score. And by the letter of the law, that's a red card. So it's one of those weird ones where it's like...
I agree that he didn't have a choice. But I'm just saying that if there was no VAR, that would have been given as a goal. Right? Let's say this was
there's a possibility he could have given it a goal. There's also a possibility he could have stopped play from that first goal. Yeah.
That's very possible. He was like, maybe let me just watch everything play out. And
let me just watch it play out. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on because that game that game in combination with what happened midweek did have impact on the title race.
Weird.
This week, City... we could have gone from 9 points and now we're sitting with 4 points, right? So it's like a big 5-point swing. But Fulham, City were playing Fulham, and I think for most people that was always going to be an easy victory for City, and that's what it ended up being. I think it was 3-0 or something like that. And so they closed the gap to 6 points. It was on Arsenal to try and extend that back to 6. And at the time of recording today, Arsenal has just dropped points away to Brentford in a 1-1 draw. I don't think there's much to really talk about. Maybe there's a VAR incident that we'll talk about with Foden and City, but just kind of zooming in a little bit on Arsenal. What are you guys' reaction to that result earlier today?
For me, I didn't feel as down as a lot of fans would have, because looking at the game, I wouldn't come out and say we deserved. Like, that was a game that we could potentially have lost, right? You could have, if you think about it, we literally lost a game like this against Aston Villa away, right? I've always been of the opinion that if you can't win a game, you better live with something, live with 1 point, right? And today was not a good day for us at the office. We didn't perform well in the first nor in the second half. Good, we were able to get a goal up, but I think this was one of those very good points that you take and you just move on with it. We look very, very leggy, very tired. To me, I think just the likes of Raya and Declan Rice are the only people I really, really think I can come out and say were levels above the rest, right? Okay, actually, and Mascara as well. I think Mascara had a good game. outside that, even Gabriel, I don't think Gabriel had a good game in my opinion. He was a little bit like rash in his decisions, and he was trying to get himself or get very physical with the attackers very quickly. Zubimendi, in my opinion, wasn't the best. Eze had a very horrible game. We switched him out, brought in Odegaard. I think when Odegaard came in, he tried very much to increase the tempo of the game, but then again, he also faced out. Our substitutions really did not help. We saw the opportunity Martinelli had, he threw it away. Saka was literally, I don't even think he played in that game. I was shocked to see Jesus not come into the game as well. But I think the reason he also didn't come into the game had to do with the physicality of Brentford. And at that point, they were playing like their long balls, set pieces, and everything. So for me, it's a point I'm glad they're going to take home. The GTEC Stadium hasn't been a nice hunting ground for a lot of people to them this season. So for me, you just got to move and keep it moving. 4 points. We've played a lot again. Like I keep saying, we've been playing games every 3 to 4 days since December 3rd, right? And you're not going to win every game. But as long as you don't lose those games, there's another game for you to move forward with and keep moving. So that was it for me.
Yeah.
Nimi Lion, you yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Samco says. Very valid, and a lot of things I would have said as well. I think I'll just add some things. The I've never seen our midfield fail that badly before. Even against the Villa game. It just felt like we lost almost every single minute. Zubimendi just looked like, and I don't even know if it was leggy. I just feel like it was more of a tactical defeat as opposed to fatigue played a part.
Yeah.
There's been 4 days since we played, right? Sunday, today,
Saturday.
yeah. So we played Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, so 5 days, right?
Mhm.
I think we got more than almost everybody else.
Yes.
And for me, there was definitely enough time to recover. I just don't know why today just felt like we were chasing it, especially the first half. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but Eze was so. I don't know if it's a thing where Ateta is telling him to not want the ball, because this is not the Eze. Because he just, I don't understand. Usually Crystal Palace Eze wanted to run the show. There was it was the night and day between his performance and Odegaard, because Odegaard came in and wanted to get on the ball, try to make things happen. Like the first 3 minutes he was on, he created 2 opportunities, if I'm not mistaken. But Eze in the first half, I just felt like, brother, you have an opportunity here to really show us why we signed you, which you've done before. I don't know if that Villa game, that mistake he made, and Ateta just 4 games and didn't even see 1 minute, right? I just felt like our midfield was crying out for so much more in that first half. And it just seemed like there was no link between the DMs or the central midfielders in Zubimendi and Rice and the attack, which is Eze's role. I thought that was a problem. And I think it was the setup, because it just looked like Brentford were perfect. Even Trossard, that Coyote brother, that Yoruba boy, you see, didn't give us the Trossard any joy today. Henry as well. Yeah. Marshall, the one time he slipped up, Madueke pounced, which was great, But it just felt like today we were, especially in that first half, it just didn't seem like we were there. I don't know what it was, but just like Samco said, is what I would just crown this with. This is one of those games that you're like, oh, let me just take what I've been offered. Yeah, and just
yeah.
We could have lost that game. The Thiago header, that last minute right before the Martinelli one, that 1-on-1 that the boy has been scoring all season, right? Bro, I'm like, at this point, and I was like, please, it's 2 in the whole game, right? Martinelli and embarrassing. At that point, it's like, just give me what do you want to give me in this match? Let me just take it and I think and I hope that's what Arteta would say. The first thing I did after this match, I went to go and see Mr. when Man City is playing Brentford at home.
Oh, really? You went to what?
Let me see Man City is going to come to this ground. But they're not.
They've gone there already, haven't they?
They won.
Yeah, I think they've gone there already. Yeah.
We just had to play Brentford when they're in the time of their life. off the wins
No,
away.
but I'm not
Yeah.
accepting that one. No, I'm not accepting that, man.
Which part? Which part are you not accepting?
The playing Brentford or whatever, like
At the
this
right
is the
time, they
league.
just came off
The-
of back-to-back wins against
you,
Villa and Newcastle.
bro, this is what the so you can't. I'm not gonna pick and choose opponents, right? Because the league is what it is. It's 38
Uh-huh.
games. In the same breath, you can say we played certain teams when they were not like at their
Mhm.
strongest, and other teams have had to deal with them. So I don't really get into those permutations. When you're going to win the title, you play the next team and you try to get a result. That's just
Uh-huh.
as simple as it gets. And like you guys have said, and I agree, I think today was one of those ones where we just weren't at our best. I think it was 5 minutes extra time, and to be honest, I would have taken three because it felt like it felt like that 5 minutes was not in our favor. They. I think I don't know if it was. I wouldn't put it down to fatigue for all the reasons that Nemi has shared, in the sense that we had plenty of time. And we've been rotating quite effectively in the last few games. So players have been getting minutes, right? So it's hard to put it down to just fatigue. I think we played the game that Brentford wanted us to play today. They were very combative. I don't know what the duel statistics looks like, but it looked like they won every duel that it was. And I said in our group chat, like, it's like they were Arsenal in Arsenal today. Every set piece, every throw in was a headache, right? And it kind of prevents fluidity, it kind of prevents us from playing our game because you have to be switched on. And so, credit to them. I thought, like you said, Eze had a bad game, but I also think you're going to see more of those kind of games from Eze, unfortunately. And the reason I say that is Eze in Crystal Palace to me is more of a transitional kind of player playing into space, kind of like what Smith Rowe was for us at times, right? Arteta is pretty clear he's going to be in a more settled, like tactical approach to the game. You're not going to find as many randomness. That's like I want to call it. Like Izzy is going to thrive in randomness because he's that kind of player. Make something out of nothing. It's his systems. It is very methodical. The way Arsenal want to play, and I don't think that platforms Izzy in the best way possible to highlight his skills. I think you kind of see him struggling a little bit because everything he's playing against a set defense pretty much every single time. And it's unfortunate because I'm not the biggest Odegaard fan, but Odegaard is probably better suited because he will come out of the block, try to help in the build up, and so you see him a little bit more, get more involved. But it's almost like the game is passing him by at times, and I hope that he has more opportunities to show what he can do at the club. But yeah, today was not the best day for us. I take the point without any pride and be like, you know what, fair play, Brentford. We'll move on to the next game.
Even Raya, it surprised me that I thought Raya was not himself today. He made, you remember that error
Really, the
when he tried
Rice.
Oh, it was from the
That's
error.
the only one that I could.
From the
Yeah.
error that he
No,
made the save.
remember some of the balls he tried to handle,
Yeah,
catch, and then drop it, and then Gabriel had to like make a last minute dash.
Yeah.
I don't think he.
Yeah, but I think
Really?
that had to do. I think that had to also do with the way those set pieces were played, right?
100%.
Exactly.
The way we always like,
Brentford, right?
yeah.
But I feel like coming out and punching those balls instead of just like
Bro, that's
Well,
easier
that
said
is
than done,
that is if
man.
you have the space to actually get to those balls to punch it.
That's
Like
yeah,
literally, it's
being
the same thing we do to other
we
teams.
do. Yeah, that's what I'm
Literally,
saying. It's easier
so,
said that they
yeah,
they
love
came and
Ryan
they did what they had to
I,
do,
I
man.
don't know. I didn't think he was flawless today. You know,
No,
like
I
No,
wouldn't say,
of course
yeah, I
it
wouldn't say
wasn't
it was
flawless.
flawless. I think, like I just said, for me, I think himself and Rice were just the much better players because when I said we looked leggy, it just felt we were chasing the game from beginning to the end. Even when it was 0-0, it just never looked like we had any type
Like
of
it was
like,
we didn't get going.
yeah, we didn't get going. Like even when we hold the ball, we lose it. And then in the second half, most of the balls was actually played in the air. If you think about it, the last 5 to 10 minutes, I can't remember how many times we had possession of that ball. So it just always felt like we were literally chasing and chasing and chasing the game. And that's why I was like, with that 1 point, I'm taking it and I'm keeping it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the league, at least from what we've seen watching other, league title winners, there's always going to be games like this every now and then. Now, nobody's going to win 38 games in a season. Unfortunately, I think the PTSD is coming from the very high standards that City has set over the last few years, where they go on this crazy run, win 11, 12 games straight. So I think that's what's making people a little antsy at the moment. But there's still plenty to go in the race. I think that's pretty clear from the results that we're seeing. I think can turn in any different direction. But um, it's always about the next game for me. When you have a game like this, it's like, okay, what do you do next, right? Are you going to go hide, or are you going to show up and put in a performance next game? This Sample will tell you. I think we had just drawn against. I forget what the result was, and it looked like the world was ending.
Forest.
And I said, was it Forest, right? And I said, watch what happens. The media is just so interesting, right? We're going to go win a game. City will drop some points. And then everybody's saying Arsenal is like, it's done. And that's exactly what happened. And now this week, the results have changed again. The narrative is going to change. And so I think if you're Arsenal, if you're Arteta, if you're the players, us fans, we can get into whatever we want to get into. But if you're in that dressing room, I think you need to expect that that's going to happen. And mentally, psychologically, you have to be willing to deal with that down the stretch. Because one week you are the next best thing since sliced bread. The next week, the media is saying you don't have the, whatever fortitude to go and win the title. And until you do it, you're going to have to keep dealing with that.
Yeah. Very, very, very factual. And it doesn't also sell for them to, it doesn't sell the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't play at it, I just really, I take a lot of, when I listen to, like, Men in Blazers have been doing a lot of segments with Arsenal players recently. And it's been like, just listening to them, I'm like, okay, their head's in the right place. That's how I feel. I would have loved to, what would have been perfect today, right? And this is just a problem. Those clutch moments, right? That Martinelli miss, right? And there was another one prior to that. I don't know if we were 1-0 up. When Reyes.
Oh, Rice, yes.
When he tried to pass the ball. Look, Reyes. Like, brother, like, what's happening there? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why we're trying to walk it home. Like, these are the chances that Man City would always take advantage of. All those times that we were winning it, especially when we were hot on their heels, right? And that's what I would want to see more. I'm not going to jump on that super negative trend. That's why I didn't make a video today. I was like, I want to sit on this emotion.
Well, thanks for joining us here. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I was like, that's the post-match thing. I was like, let me just feel all these things and let me assess it. Let me know what type of message I want to put out there on my YouTube. And also, a lot of the things I put out, my content is not scripted. I just run off pure emotions.
Yeah.
I actually love watching the shorts. Like, it's always like you're talking to your friends.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Those things, I actually internalize them a lot. That's like my actual feeling. So I want to start pushing out more of
measured content,
not filled with trauma. Because I'm so traumatized, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're not alone, bro.
You know what? If I can make a decision now, if having a love for football in general is worth it, I don't think it is so. Honestly, if I can, like Severin, if I can cut one part of my brain out, I will cut off the love of. It's not serving me. To be honest, it just come. I'm stuck. I know it's not possible. I just hate what it does to me.
Yeah, I actually understand what you mean.
Yeah, Nigeria with Arsenal. I'm not blessed to be a City fan, or maybe excuse me, I was born in the wrong generation. That 95 to I was 2 years old. That 95 to 2005 prime time to be an Arsenal fan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You win it once in 3 seasons maximum. Not suffering 21 years of no league. Come on, like why? It's not what I would have loved to just be a guy that just said, "Oh, I don't really watch football." You know what I'm saying? Girls would probably like me more because I know how all relationships have been in problem because this has not situation.
I thought about that. It's funny because I actually thought about that this weekend. Now, Samco knows this. I think people that watch know this as well. Our banter guys know this. I don't watch international football. I try to I'm looking for less football. Samco watches everything. Samco watches the female football, the under 17s, the whatever.
That's
Me,
deep.
I don't have the
Oh,
bandwidth
you mean
because
Nigeria?
of
No,
what's that?
the international women and under
No,
17.
no, no.
Yeah,
Arsenal
Arsenal women.
women. Arsenal could tell you the Arsenal women team, all of that
Respect,
stuff.
respect,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Respect.
Bro, for me, because there is so much invested in it emotionally, psychologically. I live on I mean, you know this. I live on the West Coast, so you wake up at like 4 a.m. sometimes to watch all these games,
Yeah.
and I don't miss any games, right? And you have to deal with the banter. I give it as well as I receive it when it comes to banter. So when you lose like this, you have to be willing to be there to take the punches from everybody, just
Yep.
as so there's so much that come with it, right?
Yeah.
But then I think about the relationships that have been built along the way, like just meeting people. A lot of our banter community was built on football. I really love and respect those guys, even though we go at it every single time. And I ask myself, would I trade that because of the so-called trauma that comes with it? As I'm getting older, the answer is no. I still like having those friendships and those
Mm,
relationships that come with it, right? Like,
no.
and if the trauma or whatever you're calling it, or the occasional banter, and it looks like we're going to tear our heads off, if that's the price of it, then sure, that's the price
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
pay.
Genuinely, I
What?
think you're preaching to me for real because I think I'm the problem. I think no, honestly, because you're giving me and I've tried this where I'm like, I'm going to enjoy, day by day, just enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Why I can't, I need to tweak it and I will because this is something that I see it as in 10 years, 15 years, this is my retirement plan, just be at home, post one video a day or something like that.
Yeah,
Eventually after I've done all the hustle, I need to hustle, right?
yeah,
I need to be able because I'm stuck with it, right? I might as well make it serve me. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I will always watch
yeah.
the men's Nigeria and I don't the under 17. Honestly, Samco and the women. I big up to you for that.
It's,
That's emotionally capable. I'm not equipped
it's
emotionally
funny you
to
guys say that because I think for
take that
me,
on.
like even outside just being an Arsenal fan, I'm actually a football fan. Like I actually really, really do enjoy the game,
Mhm.
right? And in terms of like the pain that comes with like or that has come with supporting Arsenal, to be honest, I think the last time I really felt that like down was the Carling Cup final against Birmingham. It was like I remember that game so vividly. Like right after that game, I remember how I
That was
felt.
painful. Oh my God,
Bro,
about
I
Femi
remember
Martins.
that. We watched
Oh
that game
my
together. If you
God.
remember, we watched that
Yes,
game together.
yes,
Yeah, that was
yes.
where are we? Huh? We leading in that game.
Yes,
Hi.
Yeah,
yes. I remember
I
that
remember
was the
that game.
game that I had to like reprogram myself and say, "Yo, look, man, like it's not really that deep." But also, just for the fact I'm able to like watch all different kind of games. I'm looking at all teams. It's not just really my team. I just watch. Like literally, there's any game that is going on, I watch. Sometimes I find myself watching the Scottish League and stuff like that. It's funny because I remember even when Spurs were looking for manager and in the group chat, I was like, man, this guy should go for Ange. People used to cuss me out in that group chat, like, what the hell is Ange? And then he's the one that
Yeah.
gets them their European trophy and all. So I think,
Mm.
yeah, for me, I enjoy the game. Yeah, there are sometimes like some results really do get to me, but man, if I know what I've seen with Arsenal and everything, like so just one loss, like we are getting proud, bro. Like now we are losing 3 games in a season and what a few draws, and all of a sudden we're feeling so down. Man, yeah, for me it's
So
just different.
I need to come for lessons because I don't know how you do it.
Uh,
I don't know how you don't see like I don't know how not to attach this result to
Yeah.
me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think
I'm
it's
it's
real
thinking
life,
about
bro. Real
I,
life. I think that
yeah.
that's why I
that's
say I'm
my
the problem.
own. That's how I deal. Like I mean, you guys know because so last season was last season that we lost to PSG in the semifinals, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Bro, I bought a ticket to London just on some, you know what, in case we make it to the final,
Yeah.
I'm going to fly over to, was it Germany at the time, to go and watch the game.
Yeah,
Like,
Germany.
that
Germany.
was literally me. And now imagine you've bought a ticket, you're in London, and then you're watching PSG. No, actually, this happened before. PSG knock us out. And you're having to make a decision. Am I still going? Bro, I went, man. I had a good time. I went to Amsterdam. I had fun and I flew back to London, watched the community. What's that competition they had, Nigeria, Ghana,
Oh yeah,
Jamaica,
the
and all
one
of
in
that.
Ghana,
Yeah, and I met some new friends, and we had a good time watching the game. Like, bro, you just have to kind of. I think for me, I know we banter a lot, we kind of go back and forth, but at the end of the day, there's still real life. You still have to wake up tomorrow, and your bills
I
are
go to
still
work.
they're still waiting for
I
you.
think me, I just
You have
enjoy it.
family.
Yeah,
Eh?
I think
No, I live for
yeah,
it. I
I
live
enjoy
for
the
it.
banter, I enjoy the football, I enjoy everything about it. Like, yeah.
Do you guys know how banter? I mean, Samko, you know, but you know how banter started, Nemi?
No, tell me.
Banter started 4 years ago
Mm.
because football was done. There was no football the
Oh,
summer. It
no,
was
yeah.
boring. I'm like, man, I miss these guys, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a big part of, we all watch the game and we're all going back and forth during the
Oh,
game. And then the summer is like quiet, no basketball, no football, no nothing. And that's kind of how it started banter. Like, okay, you know what? Let's just have weekly calls just
right.
to catch up and talk about random stuff. And that's
I
kind of
love
how it
that.
started, right? So I enjoy it. I like the weekends where there's international break because I don't really care for the international break.
Yeah.
My entire schedule is crazy because now I'm just like, okay, what do I do myself? Because I have a routine. You wake up 4 o'clock on Saturday, you watch all the games, you get
Yeah.
ready for Sunday to have banter with the boys. It's like, okay, I don't really know. I guess I have to find other things to keep myself occupied with.
Let me ask you guys a question. Right? I don't know if you guys. I worry. What is it? 3 years in a row, second place, right?
Mhm.
Right. 4 years in a row might become a habit.
I don't think so. I don't think
It
so.
might become a habit. You know. Okay. I love that. I'm really
No,
worried
no,
about
no. So
the early
I'll tell
man.
you what. I don't think so. I mean, there's validity to what you're saying. So let me not invalidate your point. But I think Samko and I, maybe because we're two of the most vocal in the groups that we're in, we keep getting all these questions. What will you do if Ateta, if they don't win? I think you evaluate everything at that point. Ateta himself probably has some evaluation to do. The Arsenal board have some evaluation to do. They've made heavy investments. Especially if you return with nothing. You're talking because your second in a row is referring specifically to the league. If you return with nothing, none of the domestic cups, no Champions League, like a trophyless season, I think would be very disappointing for Arsenal. And I think, it becomes a case of, do they need a new voice in that locker room or the dressing room, right? So I don't know if it becomes a habit. I think it's just one of those things that you're going to have to evaluate at the end of the season and make moves. But one thing is for sure, the squad, whoever ends up taking over, if there's a change that needs to be made, has a really good squad to build off from, right?
That's if they
So
don't
that's
leave.
a
I,
well. So they've done a good job in locking down a lot of those players a lot of key players to
yeah,
contracts, right? To
but I
long
think
term
these
contracts.
boys love Ateta. I don't know, but
Yeah.
not. I'm such a Ateta fan. Like it's a problem. A lot of people might be saying might be absolutely deluded, right? There's some delusion. I love the way he talks.
Yeah.
Just like
He's good at
listening.
that. You have to give him
No,
that for sure.
I'm not like I love the way he thinks. I just love the guy.
But I think
Like I'm almost obsessed with all his ideologies, and
yeah.
I love the values that he pushes on these players. Genuine. That I worry like I hope this guy doesn't leave. But
You see, that's the thing that when it comes to the players, right? I think for you to be a leader or a successful leader, there has to be something where those who are actually following you, you're showing them something for them to believe in, right?
To believe,
And I
yeah.
think that's something that he's done not just for the players themselves. I think also like the club, the management, and everybody that has found themselves in this journey, right? In the last 3 years, yes, we've finished second, and that is itself is not an achievement. There's a difference for me this season, right? Like when it comes to the injuries, I think we've addressed those situations when it has to do with the injuries because of the quality and quantity of numbers we've brought in, right? It's funny that this season is meant to be the most pressurized season in terms of trying to win the title. But I don't know if you guys have noticed the same thing. I don't seem to see that pressure on the players or Mikel Arteta either. He even seems more calm than I've seen him in the last few seasons when we found ourselves in the same position, right? So I think he has also brought them to a level where they really do believe then that they can actually get it over the line. And thus far, you can see that they've definitely done what was required to get to this part. All you need to do is literally keep doing the same thing, right? There are places where you definitely can improve and make yourself better. Add that to the team. But I think there's just this kind of like maturity. Again, this has come from the team being together for this amount of time, 3-4 years or whatever the timeline is. And I think he's literally done a good job, right? The other thing I know I was talking to someone the other day and I said one thing people underestimate in the Premier League is stability. Stability actually in the Premier League is really undervalued. If you look at the past champions or the people who've won the leagues the most, stability has always been something all of them have always had. Look at Man City with Pep. Look at Liverpool with Klopp. Look at Manchester United with Alex Ferguson. Look at Arsenal with Arsene Wenger. Even that when you come down to Chelsea, I'm not talking about like just the managers itself, but just the stability in the club and where they're going in terms of the direction and stuff like that. So I think they've literally prepared themselves for this season, and they have definitely showed that work already. I mean, think about it. These guys have lost only 3 games in the entirety of the season. I think I saw a stats today that we have played 40 games already, and they've lost only 3 in the whole season. We're in 4 competitions, and you've lost 3, and those 3 came in one competition. So it also shows you that they've definitely gone a long way from the last 3 years in which they also didn't win those title, right? Because sometimes you also have to learn from your mistakes. The very first season, I don't think they were ready for it. The second season, they did everything they can, but they were just not good enough. Last season, they can say the same. They just weren't good enough. They had their injuries and all. So when you look at those 3 seasons coming into this season and see how the club have actually tried to address each and every of those problems we faced in the last 3 seasons, we're definitely seeing the result. And I hope they actually get that achievement because I'm someone who is a big fan of people who put in that work get to receive that reward, right? And I really do believe that Mikel will definitely see those rewards this season.
Amen, bro. I wish I could
Ah.
talk to you every day after Arsenal.
Ah.
Even when you talked about the injuries, I'm just like Havertz cost us this game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like even before, like this is a game for terrorists. You know what I'm saying? Like we needed that Havertz evil,
Some goons.
not the cute Eze nonsense that wasted 5 minutes of the match today.
Yeah.
You know? But I see, honestly, I'm taking mental notes because I need to work on myself. Honestly. That's serious problems, bro. I'm suffering.
You're always welcome to the lounge, my guy. Always
Bro,
welcome
always
to the
welcome.
lounge. Let's
Yeah,
chat. You know what's funny is I was looking at the time because I'm trying to like, oh, what other agenda items? And man, this is for sure going to be our longest episode.
I
But
think
what I
so.
am enjoying about it is like, it's like guys are just actually having a conversation that the world gets listening to, right?
Honestly.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I have a couple more things that I want us to get through. I'm not even sure if we'll be able to get to the weekend round of games, but obviously there were other teams that played this week. Chelsea drew to Leeds, but then United also drew against West Ham. So doesn't look like there was much there. The only team that really won, I think, the biggest winners out of this weekend were Liverpool and City.
Yep.
I had a Bruno agenda that I wanted to bring to the table just based on some of the conversations that have been seen. You'll be on Twitter and some of our group chats. You guys have probably seen some of them. One of the wildest things I heard this week was that Bruno deserves a statue at Manchester United. Man, I was like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Like, that was one of the wildest things. I mean, Bruno is having a wonderful season right now. I mean, I think he's on track. Possibly, I think we talked about it on the last episode where he could potentially break or at least tie the season assist record, which is I think 20 by Thierry Henry and KDB. Uh, what?
That
This
should
guy
have
is such an Arsenal guy.
remember that forward injury he
I
had.
know what you're referring to. But what do you guys think? How do you guys look at Bruno's time at Manchester United so far?
To be honest, like Bruno is a brilliant player, right? But I'm not going to go on a tandem before. I mean, they already call me the national hater when it comes to Manchester United. Like I said, he's a brilliant player and all like that. But then again, I think when when fans will always be fans. We're always going to be biased, right? But when you hear those kind of like comments being made, I just want to look at it like it just tells me you're making those statements based on where you see your club is right now, right? For a club like Manchester United, especially, when you look at the players they've had that have influenced or we've called some of the greats in this league, we haven't really heard the same statement made to any of those guys, right? And you're hearing those statements when it has to do with Bruno. You're talking about a statue. Like if you give Bruno a statue in front of Old Trafford, and people ask you what did he do for Manchester United, what is your comeback with that? Like, what literally do you have to say that he has done for this same Manchester United that a lot of people do regard as one of the biggest clubs in the world, especially in England, right? So again, brilliant midfielder. He has some good numbers that are going for him, but I don't think he's anywhere close to anything that has to do with statues in Manchester United. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah, bro, I feel the same way, man. I was like, listen, if someone at Tottenham tells me that Son gets a statue, I'll say, okay, I understand
I
that, right?
understand. Yeah.
There is context behind
Yeah.
that. You know, United growing up has always been that team for a lot of us where they've been the mark of excellence until I guess City came around.
Yeah.
And we've all seen winning United teams. And so when you tell me that Bruno, who hasn't lifted the Premier League for United, given the history of winners, serial winners, people that have all kinds of records. You're talking about the Rooneys, you're talking about the Ryan Giggs in terms of appearances and things like that. You know, they don't have those statues. And you're telling me Bruno is the guy that gets it? I was like, okay, we're going over the top, guys. You know, I think Bruno is a guy I actually really like in terms of what he brings to the table, how he plays the game. You know, but I think some of that, the overestimating of his abilities in relation to some of the other guys we've seen. I've seen comparisons to the Ozils, I've seen comparisons to KDB, I've seen comparisons to like the Fabregases of all of this life. Oh, you've not been on Twitter?
I haven't seen the rules of did he actually,
Bro,
did he actually put it in
go
the same conversation with
go
us?
and search Twitter and see like literally some people are having those arguments about Bruno is Bruno versus Ozil, right? And I think sometimes you can look at Ozil's time in Arsenal as a microcosm of his entire career and think that that was all Ozil was about. Like you're talking about what is it, a World Cup winner with Germany?
Yeah.
Right, a Champions League winner, like with Real Madrid. Like, forget if you want to be disrespectful to Arsenal, oh, that's fine. Like, I can live with that. But also, his
Ozil.
career is goated, bro. Yo, just go and search on Twitter, bro.
That's I've seen the KDBs and the rest, but Ozil, bro, come off it, man. Like what?
Yeah,
Yeah, Ozil's quality. Honestly, I feel like I'll be the nicest to Bruno on this panel.
the nice what?
The nicest to Bruno and him.
Oh, that'll be me now. You know, I'm a United shareholder, so I have to respect my
No, I think
my
what I'm about to
colleagues.
say might favor him more than the how you guys see him. I think when you put up those amount of numbers in terms of chance creation and even the ones that he actually created, and
Oh
I
my
thought
god,
the I
I need
right.
editing to show
No,
to zoom in and like, oh.
I'll bring it around. I'll bring it around soon. I would love to see the ratio of the wastage because I know he's a spam. The guy is a spam. But I'll tell you what I think. Why I think some of our players would benefit from stealing that from Bruno. I've seen Bruno take all sorts of risks and not get phased by it. And I know you guys must have felt this as Arsenal fans. The amount of times I've seen a player make a run, right? And I was just begging for just I don't care if you miss it.
Yeah.
Just encourage this type of runs. Encourage that. Don't turn around and go sideways. It happened today. There was a Madueke run. I think it was Zubimendi that had it, or it was Timber. You know, we're too careful.
It was Timber.
We're too careful at times. But Bruno doesn't know the word careful doesn't exist in his dictionary.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what I feel like that's what makes him, that's what gives him those numbers. And yeah, you can say maybe he wastes a lot, right? But this is what football it's almost like a numbers game. The more you put out, the better your chances are of scoring. I just love that he's not fazed by how many he wastes, because 2 of them out of 300 are going to hit this mark, right? And I see my team every day as they turning around, turning left. Odegaard, I know that can do those passes. Should be anybody, just anybody. I just want to see us take more of a risk. And Bruno has that in abundance. And I don't think you can deny that. I don't think he's at the level.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would deny that.
Ozil, De Bruyne, no. I'm not. But there's something to Bruno that I think every creative midfielder can steal and be like, okay, I love this.
Would I take a KDB in my team, or a Bruno, or a Trent? I've said these things on numerous occasions, right? Everybody that has listened, that has been on our chats, know my thoughts on Odegaard as a player. Some of his limitations, I've shared them. I've shared that we don't have a Bruno in our team. So that's as much respect as I can pay Bruno, because I acknowledge the fact that he has those abilities. Where I've generally had problems with Bruno is in the overestimations of those abilities. When you start putting him in the brackets of like the KDBs or the Ozils to me, because never in the history of the game have we tried to reward a player for things that haven't translated into success until this guy. Right. I'm not denying the fact that he creates chances at an elite level or whatever the case might be. But you just talked about chances that like doesn't get converted. Do you know who misses the most chance in the league in terms of goals? This, like, in the Premier League? It will shock you what the answer is. Haaland.
100%.
Haaland has missed the most big chances in the league. Who's the top scorer in the league? Haaland. At the end of the day, those things have to convert into outputs, misses, makes, whatever. When it was all said and done, you want to be able to put things on the table and say, here is what I did. What?
Like trophy? Are you saying output like trophy? Or are you saying output like, because he's the leader of assists?
No, I'm talking about like titles, trophies.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Like, so because you started your talk about like the chances that don't get converted. At the end of the day, that's it. It's a waste for a reason, and that's what I'm saying with Haaland. Haaland has missed all these chances, but somehow the number of goals that he has scored still translates into success for his team. And I just can't, for the life of me, reward people who haven't won with titles that they don't really deserve. It's the same way I think Arteta is an elite manager because you can draw all sorts of numbers to back that up in terms of over the last 3 or 4 seasons, maybe only one manager has secured more points than him. Would I put him up there as top 5, top 10 managers of all time? I can't, because you haven't won anything to back up that stance. And it's the same way I feel about Bruno, right? The numbers will look like he's up there, but until you can put your medals on the table in the same capacity as some of those other guys, I can't give it to you. You're hearing people talk about Bruno as potential player of the year. Like, to me, that is just a travesty. Like, you can't really be serious, So, yeah.
Bruno is a brilliant player, man. Like I said, like
I would take Bruno in my team.
Exactly. Like, if you look at the numbers that he has, Bruno's type of midfielder in any other big club is going home with the best of the trophies, right? And he just hasn't happened to do that in terms of the trophies at Manchester United. So why would I have him on statue levels when there are others that have literally done that, and you're literally trying to almost like put his name in that same place, right? So that's just where I disagree with that statement. That has nothing to do with his talent or his capabilities.
I think for me, it's also the amount of respect that I have for the institution of Manchester United, right? Forget rivalry, banter, whatever it is that we've shared growing up. It's like, you look at Manchester United, like I said, they were the standard of excellence when it comes to winning. You have a team that has won, 13 Premier League titles. I'm not even talking about
league
like
titles,
pre Premier. And you want to tell me that I haven't been to the stadium yet. So I don't know what statues are outside of that stadium. But if I had to come up with a name, it would not be starting with Bruno. Like, there is a list of people that I have seen over the course of watching United that Gig should have a statue, for example.
Exactly.
Most appearances in that team, like something monumental, something historic. Rooney, I think, is their record goal scorer, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
That should have a statue, right? Like that's where I'm willing to start the conversation.
Yo,
right?
some people want Ballon d'Or wearing the Manchester United shirt.
That's where I would start the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just kind of is a respect to what I've seen come through that stadium, come through the doors there, that I just can't entertain that conversation. And it's funny that we want to change the narrative today. So
valid.
Yeah, man, we spent almost 2 hours. So let's who's playing this weekend? I don't even know if there's any
off my head, FA Cup, Liverpool, Brighton, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Hull, Man U, Spurs.
Again.
And they're not in the competition. Just wanted to throw something out there.
I fall for that one, man. That's true. They're not gonna like you, man. This guy is the resident United hater on this call. I don't know how I deal with him because that's my portfolio club, you know.
Then Arsenal will play Wigan. Yeah, those are the games.
Yeah.
Then I think
you know what? Let's just.
I don't want to see.
What's that?
Sorry? I don't want to see Car. I don't want to see Zubimendi, Rice. I just need those boys to rest their legs.
You don't want to see Saka? Why?
Wigan game?
Saka is going to play.
Saka is going to play.
Saka is going to
play.
You can take that one to the bank right now.
Today, I feel like we forced him back. I feel like he can have another weekend off.
No, I don't think today was a good.
Mikel is going to use that game to put some
because
Saka
if you think about
playing. Maybe Fele has played the last 3-4 games back to back.
Maybe
Madueke.
Madueke.
Yeah, Madueke has played the last 3 games. So man, get ready for Saka. Saka, Jesus, Martinelli are playing that game.
If I see them, I'm not gonna be like upset. But I just know that these boys need some more time. I definitely don't want to see Zubimendi or Rice because I feel like those.
Rice for sure. Yeah.
Because we have so many injuries.
We don't have Merino.
We don't have Eze.
Give me Eze. Give me who is the other?
I think he's going to do Eze, Odegaard, and Norgard in the middle.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
honestly, I'll take that
because Odegaard needs games. So I think that's what he's going to go with.
Let me ask you guys a question. This is why I brought Saka first. Have you guys seen them using that hot kettle tin or hot bottle thing to heat up their hamstring before match before? Today was the first time I saw it.
No, some of them do it, yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that before. Today was the first time I saw it.
When they go do like their warm-ups and stuff, when they come back the seats, they just put like...
Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I haven't paid attention.
Bro, sports science is going everywhere, so I'm not even surprised about anything.
Femi, have you seen it before?
No, I haven't. I don't, I joined the game. I don't watch whatever, man. I tune in right at
right before he came on.
Or
I've seen it before.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he had a heated thing on both his hamstrings. That was like...
It's mainly for like blood flow and stuff like that.
I mean, it also doesn't start from the bench too many times, so
exactly.
Probably not.
Sometimes you have to keep those muscles active now.
Yeah. Especially on a day like today.
But I was like,
See, guys, this is also PTSD that we're talking about. It's like we can't keep bubble wrapping Saka. Saka is a 25-year-old professional football player. He's going to get bumps and bruises, and he's going to have to figure out a way to get over that and play games.
We need to protect that hamstring. 4 months, we lost that boy last month, bro. 4 months.
So of course, I'm not thinking...
That's why we brought Noni, and that's why Noni has played so many games this season.
Yeah. But it wasn't a hamstring injury that they said... It wasn't a hip or something that they said...
Yeah, this one was hip.
The hamstring was the 4 months.
Yeah, that was the 4 months, the tear.
Yeah.
But you can't over-mitigate these things, man. Of course, I'm sure they have all the data, the load that these guys are dealing with.
I know sometimes the more active the muscles are, the better and stronger they get. Yeah.
100%. But the problem is with someone like Havertz who one injury after another just came back. I'm trying to
come back on the show. We'll help you to decompress. Come back.
Honestly,
man.
If I have the time, I'll be here every week.
Yeah. Come back anytime you want to call me up. Open invitation, my guy. Open invitation. Yeah. I think we'll end it here. This is where I will give the pass to my, shooting guard. This is where you... So
Man,
Samco, bring us home. Bring us
yeah,
home.
this was definitely a good one, and big shout out to you, Nemi.
Yeah.
Like, this was a fantastic one. Enjoyed the discussion, the conversation, and just want to give a shout out to everybody, our listeners. Please like, subscribe, and we'll be back again same time next week. Love you guys,
Sure.
man.
All right, man.
And thank you
Thanks,
guys. You
Nemi.
guys. Congratulations, man. I can't pretend like I watch every single episode. I listen. Sometimes I listen more than I watch, for sure. Because I know you guys are on YouTube, but I still listen more on YouTube because that's like the platform I'm always on.
Yeah.
But big up to you guys. I know it's not easy what you guys do, but you guys have found a way to make it enjoyable. And you guys are just having fun.
Yeah,
and what I'll
Appreciate
give
it, man.
props for is that so many times we see all these podcasts prop up and people are trying to, you can see that they're actually trying to trend. So they bring up controversial things or they want to sound a certain way. But you guys are proper bros that are just having the time talking about the sport they love. I honestly big up to you guys. It's very enjoyable to watch it. And I know the numbers might not be translating right now, but nobody cares about that, especially because you guys don't care about it as much. It will get there to have full faith, But if you guys just keep enjoying it and keep being true to who you guys are and not forcing anything, I think it'll work out for sure. Well, big up to you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. This guy, I talk to this guy every single day. Like, so if we weren't doing this, we'll be doing it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Get out the world to enjoy too.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining, and you'll be back same time next week.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Big up, guys. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.